Hello, welcome back to another episode of Small Steps to Self-Love. My name is Shelby Leigh. I'm a mental health writer and poet. And today I am joined by a special guest, Abby Hayes. I'm so excited to have her. I think, met around a year ago. Abby was one of the first people to join the poetry club, and you've been a part of the gang ever since. And I think that's how I met you. She's just a ray of sunshine. So sweet, so lovely in the poetry community. So I'm really excited to have her. And I'm just going to go ahead and pass it over to you, Abby, to introduce yourself a little bit more.
Oh, thank you so much, Shelby. What a lovely way to be introduced. The Poetry Club has done so much for my writing this year. I feel like I found it at the exact right time. I've been writing for a few years. I joined a creative writing group actually as a way to meet people when I moved to a new place.
Mm.
And actually it was brilliant for that. I made really meaningful connections by joining a group of people who have, like-minded interests. So that was brilliant. And now I feel like with the poetry club, I've done the same. I've got this sense of belonging. It's so lovely to have the encouragement. I think that's what I was lacking a little bit with my writing was my self-belief and the idea that I can actually make this into a book. So it has been a lovely year with the Poetry Club.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your book that you just mentioned? Because it's a really clever
Yes,
idea. I'm really excited for it.
it's this book has been a journey because it involves all of my creative passions, and that's one thing the Poetry Club has helped me with as well. Is that I always thought, right, I need to focus, I need to find my creative focus, and choose one thing. And then actually I came to this group of multi-passionate creatives and realized I can do the baking, I can do the music, I can do the poetry, and it can all be part of one book.
Mhm.
So it's a poetry and recipe collection. The recipes are influenced by the poems, and there's a short story weaving its way throughout as well. So the main character Hattie, it's all from her viewpoint, and it's her recipes. So the poems have this theme running through them of a sense of finding belonging, finding your community, finding your place in the world. And Hattie goes through this heartbreaking loss of her grandmother, who was her only real family. And she then creates a family for herself. And that's the themes, running throughout the book.
I love that. This book is so beautiful. The recipes are also very tasty. I did taste test make
Oh,
some
thank
recipes.
you.
So I'm really excited for this book to be out. I think it's so awesome. It's just such an awesome idea and definitely proof that you can combine multiple passions. So diving into our topic, which, we talk about mental health and self-love on this podcast, could you tell us a little bit about what your own self-love journey has looked like thus far?
So I think that my self-love journey, it's kind of an ongoing and changing relationship. The different things that I need, different stages of my life, and growing up, I was very independent. I come from a big and busy family, so I was used to doing lots for myself. Um, but then, as I got older, I would get a bit overwhelmed and not know how to ask for help. So I think the connections in my life, my husband, my family, my friends have all played this huge part in helping me ask for help.
Mhm.
It's so important to know, to be aware yourself that it's okay, not to carry it all by yourself, and then not to withdraw and isolate yourself when you're going through a tough time, because people are there, they want to help, in we really are, human beings, we want to help each other.
Mhm.
So I think my biggest struggle has been asking for help, and now it's really helped me overcome so much.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that. And I think Abby has an amazing poem on isolation and kind of what we're just talking about. So would you mind reading that for us, Abby? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so this one is written from the perspective of Hattie in my book, and it definitely covers that theme of when you're struggling and you isolate yourself, um, but then coming back to the beauty and being seen. So this is Vanishing Act. Some people move to the city in search of a life to shout about. She moved to the city to whisper into a sea of quiet anonymity, to be swallowed whole by overbearing buildings and roaring traffic, to hide among tree-lined streets paved with homes and lives she could get lost in. In this city, she is nobody, irrelevant, vanishing into the crowd. In this city, she learned the art of disappearing and lost the beauty of being seen.
That's wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about like what you were feeling as you wrote that or what kind of led you to writing that poem?
Yeah, it's just this idea that, sometimes we feel like isolating ourselves and withdrawing um, is the way that we heal. And sometimes that is, sometimes we do need that time by ourselves. But then when you do that, you lose that connection and you lose that beauty of being held in your vulnerability.
Mm,
And I think that's what Hattie realizes in this story, is that actually she doesn't want to be um, vanishing into a crowd anymore. She
yeah.
wants to be seen and she wants to be held. And that is part of her self love journey.
Yeah. That's lovely. I think being vulnerable is so powerful. So I think that poem touches on that very well. Thank you for sharing. If someone is really hesitant to ask for help or I don't know, just shy about doing that, what would you recommend they
Mhm.
start with? How would they kind of overcome that?
I think it's really hard to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
It's actually a very brave thing to do. Um, and actually, the character in my book, Hattie, she definitely came from a place where she would isolate herself um, a lot, and then learned to ask for help when she was struggling. Um, I mean, and I know that I find when I am more connected to my children, to my husband, to my friends in my community, I then feel more connected to myself as well, and the more balanced I feel in life. Um, but it's hard to get to that point where you do feel like you can ask for help. And I do think it's the people around you that you surround yourself with, that you feel safe with, and that you feel that you can be vulnerable with. So it's all about knowing who makes you feel like the best version of yourself, and who knows you and who knows what you need as a person. I don't even have to say anything to my friends, and they know what I need. And they can sense it.
Yeah.
There's a part in my book where it's surround yourself with the people who hear you in the silence. And I think that is what makes those connections so special.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful quote. I love that. And I love what you said about how asking for help from others has helped you kind of find yourself more. I think that's a
Yeah.
really interesting thing and something that's so important to remember. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but if you want to maybe go a little bit more in depth or in terms of how support from friends and family has helped you on your self-love journey or your mental health journey, in addition to finding yourself, which we just talked about.
Yeah. I think friendship in itself is one of the most genuine and generous relationships. Those people choose you, they choose you over and over. And I think that is so special. So, whatever your support network is, whether that's your family or your community, those are the people that show up for you. And it's not even on your good days, it's on your bad days. It's when you don't have that self love for yourself, they have
Mhm.
it for you. And
Mhm.
that can just bring you back to yourself. They'll show you the compassion that you're not showing yourself.
No, that's so true. I've definitely been someone who hasn't always gone to people and just kept it all inside for a large portion of my life, I think.
Yeah.
So Hearing all of this from you is really, really helpful for me too, who sometimes still struggles with reaching out to people. But knowing that family is there for me, friends are there for me, they're choosing to be there for me, which I think is really, really important. And knowing that I'm there for them
Yeah.
too. So it shouldn't feel like a selfish
Yeah.
thing, right? I feel like that's another thing that people might think is like feeling selfish about reaching out for help or wanting advice, but it's a two-way relationship. So I think that's something that's important to remember too.
Absolutely. And I think that's the healthiest relationship when it is, I want to help my friends as much as they will want to be there for me,
Right.
and you know each other so well that you
Yeah.
can be that, there for them.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like I've never been bothered by a friend asking for help, so why should I think that they'd be bothered by me asking
Yes.
for help?
Yeah.
Kind of silly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what about someone who doesn't feel like they have a support system in their family, or maybe they don't have close friends? Where should someone start in finding support? I
Mhm.
know that's kind of a large question, but I feel like there might be someone listening who might be feeling that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a hard thing to do because you really do have to be proactive about it as well. I mean, I've moved several times and started in new places. And the first thing I do is I think about my hobbies, the things that I love, that I don't have to do, but I choose to do. Because when you ask people about their hobbies, their eyes light up, like they could
Mhm.
talk all day. Whatever that hobby is, they love it. So the first thing I do is I try and find some kind of class or club. Um, and that's exactly what I did when I first moved to this village in Scotland that I'm at now. And I met a group of lovely, like-minded people, and it's about those connections with people. So that's the first thing I would do. Also, volunteering. If you volunteer, in your community, if you've got the time to, um, you can meet people that way, and then you can help people at the same time. Like I said, my book, Coffee and Wildflowers, it is about Hattie building this community for herself, and finding that sense of belonging. And it is hard, and especially for her character, she is going through grief at the same time. Um, and that's, those tough things happen in life, and it's hard to find those connections. But it is
Right.
about trying to find those people that are going to have similar interests to you,
Yeah.
and surrounding yourself with the encouragement and the support. But also, online now as well, it's opened up. I've met loads of like meaningful relationships through the poetry club and online communities, um, through passions that we share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm the same way. I've met a lot of people through online communities, but also, yeah, trying to find something in person if you can, if you're able to get to an in-person event of some
Yeah.
sort to kind of meet other people who have the same hobby as you. I feel like that's such an amazing connection to have with someone. So that's
Yeah.
really great advice. Yeah. So I always love to have my poetry guests read a poem of theirs so everyone can get a taste of your amazing work. So would you mind reading a poem for us today?
I would love to. So this one is called Hold Still, and I wrote it. It was a poetry club prompt,
Yes.
so it
Amazing.
kind of, yeah, it's evolved from that. So this is Hold Still. Sometimes it feels like the entire world rests between the blades of my shoulders. I bend beneath the weight, hoping it won't break, and that's when you show up for me. You help me find my balance. Suddenly, life feels lighter as I lean into your stillness. Take time to pause and rest. You remind me no one will love me any less. And there are still times when I stumble and fall, trying to keep up with it all. But you've taught me to be gentle with myself, with my soul, to trust my intuition, turn inwards when I'm searching, quiet the outside noise, and remember that I'm worthy.
Beautiful. I love
Thank
that.
you.
Was that written about someone in particular that you want to shout out, or was that just a friendship poem in general?
It was a friendship poem in general. My friends mean so much to me. And I think they know that, but I think it's still nice to sometimes just let them know, you
Yeah,
know.
definitely. Definitely. That's so lovely. Well, I think that was everything we wanted to cover today. This was so wonderful having you and chatting about the importance of a support system and kind of that found family notion of finding that support system that really helps you through hard times. So, thank you for sharing all of that and helping other people who are listening feel like they can do that too and they can reach out and ask for help.
Thank
Where
you so
can
much for having me.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Where can people find you and learn more about your book and everything that you do on social media and everything?
So I mainly use Instagram, and my handle is Abby_storyteller. And then it's the same on TikTok. And
Perfect.
hopefully you will find my book soon as well.
It's so exciting. All right, awesome. Well, I'll put those links in the description too. And if the book's out by the time this episode is out, I'll put that in the description as well so people can find it. But this was so wonderful. Thank you again for joining me. And I hope everyone listening has a wonderful week filled with self love and compassion and kindness. Thanks for listening.